Welcome everyone. If we go to the meeting with the pledge of flag, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Minutes for the March 11th regular town board meeting. I need a motion to accept.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Monthly statement of our supervisor's office for, thank you, John. Thank you. For the month of March 2013, General A Fund had a beginning balance of $133,629.55. Total received was $14,851.45. Total dispersed $44,691.94. Ending balance of $103,789.06. Savings for General A, $589,474.58. General B had a beginning balance of $51,513.41. Received total was $399.85. Total dispersed was $3,995.86, leaving an ending balance $47,917.40. Savings for the General B is at $44,178.22. Highway DB beginning balance was $115,777.27. Total received was $12.09, and total dispersed was $6,786.64, leaving an ending balance of $445,315.02. Savings for Highway DB is at $445,311.59. Highway DA had a beginning balance of $114,159.33. Total received $3.02. Total dispersed was $86,256.26, leaving an ending balance $27,906.09. The savings for the Highway DA is at $802,877.37. Youngsville Water District had a beginning balance of $7,411.02. Total received was $3,118.25. Dispersed was $4,324.60, leaving an ending balance $6,204.67. The savings for the Youngsville Water District presently at $21,386.73. Need a motion to accept supervisor's report.
Motion.
Dave, in a second.
Second.
Scott, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Okay, Janet, town clerk and code enforcement report, please.
Okay, I paid $628.95 to the town. I paid $54.80 to the DEC for decal. Paid $19 to New York State Animal Population Control Program. And I paid $45 to the New York State Department of Health for marriage licenses, for a total of $747.75. And I received $220 from the code enforcement officer.
Thank you, Janet. Motion to accept town clerk and code enforcement officer report is read.
Motion.
Howard, second.
Second.
Charlie, all in favor? Aye. Janet, if you'd order the bills, please.
Okay, General A Fund vouchers number 103 to 118, $3,750.21. Also received a bill from William Romney for $164.90, Walls Welding $178.75, AT&T $231.63, Dow's of Water $57, New York State Electric and Gas $779.19, Double Clean $425 even, and another bill for NICEX for $20.45 for the park. General B vouchers 11 to 13, $853.15. Highway DA vouchers number 38 to 51, $66,012.72. Another bill from Deckelman for $13,419.21. Highway DB vouchers number 2 to 4, $19,728.38. And Water District vouchers 13 to 16, $2,599.32.
Okay, a motion to pay the bills.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, warrants, March payroll checks number 21225 to number 21241, and the direct deposits in the amount of $39,480.98. And motion to pay.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Charlie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The March trust and agency checks number 4883 to number 4888, and the electronic transfers in the amount of $84,490.45. Any motion?
Motion.
Dave?
Second.
Scott, kind of a pattern going on here. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you. Chris, highway super report, please.
I just got a couple things, I know we got a lot to get to here. Just cleanup reminder, May 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So that'll be before the next meeting. 7 to 6, and same rules apply, pretty much as always, so. And last month we opened the chipper bids, and we only got one, but I spoke with the salesman over there at Marshall's in Beach Lake, and he is gonna honor 10,000 even on our trade, which there was some language in there that said about 10,000. So anyway, he's gonna do 10,000 on the trade. So from 31,204.45 cents with our municipal discount, minus 10,000, we're at 21,000 for a new chipper. So if you guys would care to approve that.
Okay, is it 21,000 even, or is it be the 21,204?
21,204 and 45, yeah.
Okay, so, Chris, you all know you've talked about this, but the trading in the old chipper for the new Morbark from Marshall Machinery was the only sealed bid that was, or only quote that was received. You had contacted several others, and
We
Couple
bid it-
times.
We bid it twice, yeah, we bid
Right.
it 2 months in a row, so.
so the amount with the trade-in would be $21,204.45. So I guess you need a motion to approve that, or do you have any questions for Chris at this time?
And you feel it's a good deal on this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Pretty much
cheaper-
ordered the way you want it. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a
we've
few
got,
options.
the exact to replace what we've had, which has worked nice for us. Different brand, but, same quality, commercial, and, hopefully it'll last as long. The last one was from 1996, so, if we get that long out of it, it's not a bad deal. And to give us 10,000 on the trade, I think is pretty fair too, pretty good chunk.
I think the other vendor was only like 5,000 or 6,000 on a trade
Yeah,
possibility.
and he was about 3,000 or 4,000 more on the quote that he sent me. He never sent the sealed one, but on the one that he sent me, emailed me, he was from Albany way, so I don't know what happened with that. So, so I think, and this will be nice, having a dealer, which is within drive, out of Marshall, so hopefully they'll be good, and, hopefully it'll last as long as the last one did.
I'll make the motion.
All right, second by Scott. Motion by Dave, second by Scott to purchase the new Morbark
Morbark
shipper.
from Marshall.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, they're about 4 weeks out on a build time, but
All right.
he said we could use the other one until then, as long as, we
Okay.
don't put too many hours on it.
Yeah, okay.
So anyway, that's all I have. Thank you. CHIPS money, well, supposedly is in the New York budget. They did increase our CHIPS money this year by a substantial amount. We got $153,188 last year, and supposedly they're gonna give us another $43,000 this year. And I don't know if that's gonna be a one-time shot, or if they're gonna leave that in there for every year, thereafter. I don't know yet.
That's just for people who don't know, it's the capital highway improvement projects.
Consolidated Local
CHIPS.
Street Highway Improvement Program, yeah, which gets divvied up between all towns, villages, counties, and everything, from your gas tax, it's the money that's collected that's supposed to trickle down. So if that increase is actually there to stay, normally every year they increase it, a couple $100, peanuts is what it's been lately, but the increase always stays, so if that's gonna stay, that would be really helpful for a lot of these little towns.
It's still not official, though.
It's not official, but it's supposedly it's in the budget, so we haven't got it yet, but.
The
be nice
43,000 is on top of the 153?
On top of the 150, yeah, so, yeah.
It's
So that would be nice if it's there.
It'll help.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Thanks, Chris.
okay.
Code enforcement.
I just got something for Chris.
sorry.
Somebody asked me about the bench that used to be out in front here, Chris. Could you guys move the bench that was by the town hall back where it was?
Oh, when we put the blacktop down? Okay.
Yeah. I guess you gotta chain it back.
Okay.
All right?
Yep. no
Thank you.
problem.
Okay, anything else for highway? Okay, thanks, Chris. Code enforcement.
Not too many permits this time of year, but hopefully this nicer weather will change things a little. We went to a class this month on the American with Disability Act class. And there's several regulations that govern that agenda, that program. And, so it was quite interesting. There's a lot to it. It's very difficult to make a building completely in compliance. That's about it.
Okay, one of the things I want you to check on, I was gonna ask you the other day, I forgot. I don't know what we have in, one thing that seems to me is really getting worse, and it's our litter on the road, and not that it's up to code enforcement, but I don't know who else we would fall on other than law enforcement. But, you know, I would just like to look into that a little bit. It seems to be as bad as it's been in a while, and I know we have litter pluck and town cleanup, but I hate to leave it to just one day or a couple days a year. But if we could find some of these, I know the highway guys are.
We've done a couple, yeah.
Yeah, they find bags of trash, they go through them and find out who the culprits are, and we will prosecute them. But just something for everybody to keep in mind, really. The old saying, you see something, say something, because, you know, in my opinion, our roadways are littered to the, probably worse than I've ever seen them, so. Okay, Greg, anything?
Yeah, the only thing is that, you know, I think building is gonna pick up quite a lot. Bethel and Coshocton are both very strong right now, so it's just a matter of time before Kevin sees them also. So it's coming. It started last year.
Interest rates are still favorable.
Yeah, but like I say, Bethel, there's a lot of permits, and Coshocton, we're writing a lot of new construction too. So between the two, the whole area is starting to see a significant increase in new construction.
So that's what we like to hear.
Yep.
Anybody else have anything for code enforcement? Okay, thank you, guys. Okay, before we move in, we got a lot on our agenda tonight. Take a little bit of time, but we always open it up to the public now for anything that's on our agenda. And so this time, we'd like to do that. If not, we'll move right into the agenda items.
Yes, Tom, I'm Ken Hilton from Post Road. I just wanted to, and I'm going to sound like a nudge again, but I just wanted to make sure that we have everything on the agenda that is on the agenda tonight, that you know of.
Sir, I do think there is everything on there is, and then just so you know, we discussed this a little bit. We try and do this, I mean, there are times that things come to our attention after the agenda is posted, and, you know, we try to be vigilant about that and make sure. But, you know, there's enough on here for tonight. If there's anything else, we'll have to wait till next month, so, but no, I appreciate the question.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Okay, then let's move right on into, we have quite a few bids that we've requested, and the first one on our list for tonight is our bids for sand.
Give me three,
Three?
definitely.
I feel like, was that cognac? Cognac?
Cognac.
Sorry.
It's not cognac.
I do feel it's on there.
This is from Deckelman Trucking. Okay. They have, okay, all the stone bids are on here as well. We're just looking for the sand. Okay. Ice control sand. The only bid submitted is delivered, and that's $13.36 per ton. From Deckelman, $13.36 per ton delivered. Okay, so that's their only bid on the sand. I'll hang on to this because that also includes their stone bids. Want to have it back?
R&H score.
R&H Gore, sand delivered, $14.22 per ton delivered, R&H Gore. Callahan. Okay, we have a delivered price per ton of $13.50 and an FOB price of $11.50. That's Callicoon out of Bridgeville, $13.50 delivered. Okay, that completes the bids on the sand. And as we do normally, of course, that's up to Highway Superintendent to look over and make sure the quality is what he wants it to be, and then we will plan on awarding bids at the May meeting. Okay, now the stone and asphalt bids.
Bedrock.
This is bedrock. Okay, everybody got their pen and paper ready? Stone sand, FOB, $11 per ton. $15.25 per ton delivered. Surge stone, $11 per ton, FOB. $15.25 per ton delivered. Number one, low abrasion, no bids. Number 1As, $11.50 per ton, FOB. $15.75 per ton delivered. Number ones, $8 per ton FOB, $12.25 per ton delivered. Number twos, $8 per ton FOB, $12.25 per ton delivered. Number threes, $8 per ton FOB, $12.25 per ton delivered. Number 1 and 2 combo, $8 per ton FOB, $12.25 per ton delivered. Crusher run, $5.75 per ton FOB, $10 per ton delivered. Blended sub base, $8 even per ton FOB, and $12.25 per ton delivered. No bid on the state approved washed gravel number ones, and no bid on the state approved crushed washed gravel number 1As, no bid. Anti-skid PA, $9 per ton FOB, $13.25 per ton delivered. Rip wrap, new this year that we've put out for bid because we've been using a fair amount of it. $12 per ton FOB, $20.50 per ton delivered. Stackable stone, same way there, first time we've requested bids. $26 per ton FOB, $34.50 per ton delivered. The asphalt, type 7 top, no bid. Type 6 top, no bid. We do have a sand bid on here as well. Doesn't matter, $15.25 per ton delivered. And FOB is $11 per ton. That's the sand. And it was just marked bid for stone, so that's why we weren't sure it was a sand bid as well. This is from R&H Gore.
11. They picked it up.
Okay, again, this is from R.H. Gore. Stone sand, these are all delivered prices.
I'm sorry.
Gore. I'm assuming these are all per ton. Not marked, but I'm gonna assume that. Stone sand is $16.74. Surge stone, $16.90. Number 1A, low abrasion, $25 even. Number 1As, $23.50. Number 1s, $14.46. Number 2s, $17.20. Number 3s, $16.20. Number 1 and 2 combo, $17.20. Crusher run, $11.78. Blended sub base, $11.78. No bid on the washed gravel ones or 1As. Anti-skid, PA, $16.48. Rip wrap, $21. And stackable stones, $23. Asphalt, no bids. And that again is from R&H Gore. Callicoon. Okay, all right, I see the difference between East Kingston plant and our Bridgeville plant, okay. So these are all from Bridgeville. Stone sand, FOB $11. Delivered is $13.99. Surge stone, FOB is $11. Delivered is $13.50. No bid on the number 1A low abrasion. Number 1A is $17 FOB, $19.75 delivered. Number 1's $13 FOB, $14.69 delivered. Number 2's $11 FOB, delivered is $13.75. Number 3's $11 FOB, $13.75 delivered. Number 1 and 2 combo is $11 FOB and $13.75 delivered. Crusher run, $8.95 FOB, $13 even delivered. Blended sub base, $8.95 FOB, $13 even delivered. No bid on the wash gravel 1As or number 1, no bid either one. Anti-skid PA, no bid. Rip wrap, $15.50 FOB, $24 delivered. Stackable stone, $18.50 FOB, $26 delivered. Asphalt type 7 top is FOB $66 and delivered is $78.50. Type 6 top, $64 FOB or $76.50 delivered. All asphalt deliveries must be minimum 20-ton load. That's all from Bridgeville. There's no bids submitted from East Kingston. We had, the sand bid is on here as well, but we already had theirs at a separate, right, okay, $13.50 per ton and $11.50 per ton FOBs. Okay. That's it? Okay.
You had Deckelman sand bid had their stone with
Gotta
it.
come back, right? Deckelman's has their stone bid with the sand. Would you give that back to me from Deckelman? Thanks, Chris. That's it.
There you go.
Thank you.
Just this one.
Yeah, again, that envelope just says sand bid, so, but that's all right, we have stone in here as well. Okay, this is from Deckelman. Stone sand, these are all delivered prices. Stone sand, $13.95. Surge stone, $17.31. Number 1A low abrasion, $26.04. Number 1A, $19.76. Number 1's $14.51. Number 2's $13.31. Number 3's $13.31. Number 1 and 2 combo, $13.31. Crusher run, $11. No bid on the blended sub base, no bid on state approved wash gravel number 1s, and no bid on number 1A wash gravel. Anti-skid PA, $14.41. No bid on riprap or stackable. No bid on the asphalt. And again, their sand was $13.36 per ton delivered. I believe that completes all of the bids that were received for sand and stone and gravel asphalt. So again, we'll give this to Chris to go over the specs and determine which is the best, and we'll award the bids at our May meeting. Any questions on that? Nope. Okay, move right on to open the bids for the pipe.
That's Shimon.
Chemung Supply. Okay, they had both FOB and delivered prices. Is it Elmira? Elmira?
Yeah, they got a couple places, but we use typically the tractor trailer load delivery.
Okay, here we go. I'll read them both because that's what they submitted. 12-inch pipe, $5.14, oh, they're all the same bids. The delivered and FOB are the same price, okay. So I'll just read as delivered price. 12-inch, $5.14. per foot. Doesn't designate that, but I'm assuming that's what it is.
Yeah, they'll all be.
12-inch coupler is $6.08. 15-inch pipe, $6.38. A 15-inch coupler, $10.12. 18-inch pipe, $9.46. 18-inch coupler, $17.24. 24-inch pipe, $14.96. And the 24-inch coupler, $24.32. 30-inch pipe, $23.07. 30-inch coupler, $56.63. 36-inch pipe, $29.03. 36-inch coupler, $78.65. 48-inch pipe, $53.86. And the 48-inch coupler is $135.14. That completes Shalom Supply's bid on the pipe. Okay, this is from Delaware Valley Supply, Callicoon. Doesn't really say on it anywhere, but I see Richard's name on here. Yes. That's who it's from. It really doesn't. It has Rich,
Yeah.
Rich's name and Callicoon, so. Okay. Again, same price, delivered FOB. 12-inch, $5.14. 12-inch coupler, $6.08. 15-inch pipe, $6.38. 15-inch coupler, $10.12. 18-inch pipe, $9.46. 18-inch coupler, $17.24. 24-inch pipe, $14.96. 24-inch coupler, $24.32. 30-inch pipe, $23.07. 30-inch coupler, $56.63. 36-inch pipe, $29.03. 36-inch coupler, $78.65. 48-inch pipe, $53.86. And the 48-inch coupler, $135.14.
They have the same OGS salesman. They're all the
Right.
same. They're always the same.
Okay, so,
Very good penny.
well, you'll, again, review that unless you need to award it tonight, but you'll review it, we'll do it next month as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly the same.
All right, this is bids for the hauling for the cleanup. As Chris reminded you before, the fall cleanup, or the spring cleanup, May 3rd through 6th. But this will also include our fall cleanup. That's what we requested in the bid. So this is from Jeff Sanitation. Spring and fall cleanup. Removal to Sullivan County landfill. 30-yard roll-off, $250 each to the Monticello Transfer Station. Roll-offs for the metal, $225 each for the container, and town will get the waste slips and the money from Sims Metal. Jeff Sanitation.
That's all I have.
It's the only bid? Okay. Well, in that case, I think the board has, we can move on that tonight because there's really little else we need to do. $250 per pole and $225 per pole for the metal, and the town will receive the, any funds from the metal that's sent to Sims. So, need a motion?
Motion.
Dave, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Why? Okay. That's funny, we usually have 3, 4, 5 bids for that. Must be everybody's busy. Okay, mowing proposals, and we requested for the park and the little bit around the town hall here.
Are they
Are they both on the same bid then?
It was supposed
They'll
to be
bid them
separate.
separately, but we requested it, you know. This is from D-Man's Mowing. D-Man's Mowing, demand, it's
Demand.
Derek. Okay, my bid proposal for mowing the town of Callicoon Town Park and Callicoon Center is $89.50 per mowing. This includes string trimming around the parking area, pavilion, and basketball court. Any grass clippings left on the basketball court or around pavilion after string trimming will be addressed. Hello, string trimming. Mowing not to exceed the cost of $1,969, which is the sum of 22 cuttings. Any additional mowing needed will be at no cost. Lawn will be maintained weekly or as needed depending on weather. Okay, so that's just for the park. Oh, he has a separate one, okay.
He gave us one for the town also.
Okay, and a separate envelope, this is for the mowing here at the. Bid proposal for mowing at the town of Callicoon Hall, 19 Legion Street, is $34.75 per mowing. Same thing, includes string trimming and cleaning any debris, trimmings left on sidewalks and roadway. Mowing not to exceed the cost of $764.50, which is a sum of 22 cuttings, and any additional mowing will be at no cost. Lawn will be maintained weekly or as needed depending on weather. So $34.75 per mowing and maximum of $764.50 for the season. That's D-Man's Mowing.
This one here is for the park, that's all we got. That's it.
That's all. This one is just, this is from Landscape by Design, and I believe it's only for the park, Janet just told me. Yes, mowing Callicoon Center ball field per mowing, I hope he does ours and not the firemen's, but anyway. $74.54 per mowing, not to exceed $1,473.51 for the mowing season. Okay, that's it. It says nothing about string trimming. We'll, I guess the town board will address that issue, and I don't think we're gonna have to mow anything before May, but we might. So, I will take care of that, and we'll award that bid at next month's meeting as well. All right? Okay?
Yep.
Okay, that ends the bid opening, so I want to thank all of the people, businesses that have submitted their bids. And again, we'll do our best to award them next month. Okay, number 7 on our agenda is, we have had a park caretaker. Tom Schmidt has been the caretaker for our park, probably since we developed our park, and has done, I think, a great job for the town there. What we didn't do is make the official appointment of him in our January meeting, so I'd like to ask for a motion that, to do that right now, to appoint.
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Charlie, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, we do have one resolution, and that's to accept the, last month, we appointed a member of our town board to do the separate audits for the judges. And this is what this will be. Okay, motion by Councilman so-and-so, second by Councilman blank. Town of Callicoon Town Board acknowledges receipt of the required annual examination of the Town of Callicoon court records, which was conducted by Councilman Fuchs on March 13th, 2013. So,
Motion.
a motion is by Mr. Keebler, and a second,
Second.
and seconded by Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's
Okay. And that is an annual audit, and thank you, Howard,
You're
for
welcome.
doing that. There are copies of that audit, if anybody cares to see. Okay, number 9, I have listed as discuss the employee handbook. I believe last month, all the councilmen received a copy of a new Town of Callicoon employee handbook that we've developed. And I would ask them at this time to make sure that they have gone through it and bring their questions to next month's meeting, and hopefully we can have a little discussion on it and accept it, adopt it as an official employee handbook. So that's all I need, unless you have any questions on that. No? It's also something new. We'll leave number 10 go for last. It'll take the most time, so if that's okay with everybody. We'll move to a couple others, we'll put them up. A generator update. 2008 or 9, we installed a standby generator at our town barn. It's been nothing but trouble for us. Hasn't worked correctly, Chris can tell you about it. The company that won the bid proposal for that has not been very attentive to our needs. Been horrible, quite truthfully. It's a local company, and we've had to reach out to another vendor that also sells the same unit. They've come, they've tried, and we're like this right now, right? Whether it's working, but we don't know. We do have another, I guess, a company that's I talked to last week, and they're supposed to come maybe tomorrow to look at it. He seems to think that, what I'm getting at here is if this generator is not capable of what's needed there, and as you know, we've designated the town barn, highway garage, as one of our evacuation sites that we've, occasionally need for our flash flooding, power outages, whatever. So we need to have standby generator there. And if the one hardly works for us, when the storm Sandy hit, we were out 12 days power, and the men were hardly able to work in the barn because of no power. So we're gonna continue on this. I was hoping this local company that sold us this would step up and take care of it. They have not. I've tried to discuss that with them. I spoke to Marvin a little bit about that, what we want to do with that. But we got to get it working. The other company that worked on it told us it may be undersized. The man that's supposed to be coming now doesn't believe it's undersized. So there's a possibility we're going to consider, if it is undersized and it's okay to run, we may consider moving that to this building. The energy needs are less. Here, strictly lighting, computers, doesn't have air compressor or electric door openers. So if that's the case, we may consider doing that. So we do have a standby generator here. And then looking into a purchase of either a new or good used of the correct size for the town barn. We're hopeful that this other company that's coming to look will be able to maybe assess it and tell us what we need. Just wanted to bring you up to date and the rest of the board on that. So I know it's been a real pain for your guys when we need it. So sometimes the low bid isn't always the best. Okay, any questions on that?
Are we looking into getting a price on it?
I think after Chris meets with this other, it's North End Power. They're in either Pittston or Scranton, Pennsylvania. They've been recommended very highly. And they've done work for town of Delaware, I believe, too.
Yes.
Yeah. And after they make their assertion and let us know where to go with that, then we'll, if we have to do that, we'll request some bids on.
And a different brand generator, is that?
Well, again, what we were told is this particular brand is more of a homeowner's and not a very good product. I don't like to diss anybody's product, but I think if we do have to look into another one, we will look for other than a generator. So I said,
Basically what I was getting at.
huh?
That's basically what I was getting at.
Okay, so I said it, you didn't. Next month, we'll have more of an update. I know it's kind of boring, but I wanted to bring the board up to speed on that. Okay, number 12 is really, I am not making any fun of it at all. Every year, we're really given the privilege of choosing a senior of the year. These are people that donate their time all year long with many different things. Meals on Wheels, taking people to appointments that can't drive or unable to drive, help here, senior. It's incredible the amount of time a lot of these people put in. RSVP of the county usually gives us their recommendations for each township. We've had several repeat awardees or winners over the years. Laura McLaughlin and Frida Perico and a couple others. But this year, we're pleased to announce that we have a member in our attendance tonight, and he happens to be the chairman of our planning board, Fred Fries. I know Fred is a little reluctant to accept this award, and we're not going to allow him to be reluctant because he's very deserving of this. Do you have that, Janet, from RSVP?
I want the free meal. The only reason I'll accept it.
You just didn't want to be that old, that's it.
I don't accept that.
Well, I just wanted, I think there was 570 some hours of volunteer time this year by Fred, and I'd just like to say thank you for that. Yes, if anybody doesn't know, Fred works and donates his time with the Sullivan County Historical Society.
Is he old enough though?
That's part of the
Thank you.
requirement.
Thank you.
Pilar McLaughlin, I mentioned as well, our little Pilar from Youngsville, she also was runner-up, 83 years young. She had 428 hours of volunteer service this year. So to both of them, really great, and Fred, thank you. So Janet will let you know when the luncheon is, and hope you're there. So I think
No
we need a
rubber
motion.
chicken.
We need a motion to appoint Fred Fries our Senior of the Year.
Motion.
Howard, second.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Fred. Okay. And the last on our agenda list, of course, was the big item I said will probably take the most time. The comprehensive plan review panel that we talked about last month's meeting. We talked very briefly about it. Myself, several of the board members have had some conversations, some phone calls, some meetings that we've met in person and discussed this, which I, again, thank the ones for taking the time. So what the board thought we would do is let tonight's meeting be a bit of a discussion on this panel that the board will appoint to review the material in the comprehensive plan. Last month's meeting, we had said that we would have a sign-up period, and we would end that sign-up period at tonight's meeting. We did not say we would appoint at tonight's meeting. That may have been reported on, but that's not correct. Several people that we did have conversation with had asked about extending the deadline for sign-up, and so more people would know about it. I think that's a good idea and very worthy of that. So I would ask that, one of the things on tonight's discussion that the board considers that, and I guess I'll just ask that in the form of a motion, if we would allow the sign-up until our May 13th.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I've had a couple of conversations and they would like to
extend it.
extend
Okay.
it.
I think we extend it, and if we feel we need more time, we can do it till June, if so need be.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, there hasn't been too many people that signed up at this point.
No, I think you're right, Dave. We haven't had a lot, but I think people are maybe waiting to have some questions answered tonight. And, then they can, make their mind up if they want to commit the time or not. So I'd like to just ask the board at this time, if they want, or they just want to open it up to the public right now. And we'll go through the best we can. Hopefully, it'll take a lot of time, but it's important. So,
I think you should open it up.
okay. Okay, all right, and feel free, it doesn't have to be me answering them, so if anybody wants to. So we're open for comment on this if you have some questions regarding the review panel. Fred,
How
you
many
first.
members would you be thinking you're gonna have on this? Have you talked about that yet?
We did, and
I don't know if we've come up with a number yet, but, we've talked about maybe 6 and maybe 8, but we haven't really, we only have a couple people signed up at this point, so,
2, maybe 2.
yeah.
well, I think
We
we
have
had
a-
said 5 to 8, a maximum of 8 and a minimum of 5, and I think that's where we are at that.
Yeah, I think any more of that, sometimes it gets,
Gets unruly.
yeah,
Gets to be a gang.
right.
Mhm.
So, excuse me one second. Sorry. Beautiful weather we've had. Somebody will be cold for sure, so. Okay, so, yeah, I think 5 to 8. So, anything else, Fred?
No.
Okay. Yes.
Nancy Lee, Callicoon Center. I think the most important thing for me is, what will this review panel be charged with doing? What's the task? Just like a judge charges the jury?
Okay. A good question, and it's been raised by several other people. So, again, I just hope that we don't have repeat questions, so, and we'll try and handle it the best we have. I think what we have told some people that have asked that already was that really the only issue that have seemed to come up as questionable in the update of the comprehensive plan was the inclusion of language regarding natural gas drilling. You know, there were many comments that it was not right, shouldn't be in there, should be removed, should be changed. So I think the board can tell you as well, but I think that's gonna be simply the duties of this review panel, is to make a decision on that particular language. There really has nothing else has come before this board that has shown to be.
Basically, leave it in, take it out, or change it.
But I do think if something else on the comprehensive plan, that there is issues that could also be discussed. But like you said, it's mostly gas drilling is the issue.
Yeah, according, with the 239 review, was basically, that was the comment, except for some clerical errors.
Language.
Which will be corrected, any of the clerical or formatting issues, correct, yes. But look, we went over 3 years of a update to this original 1980 document. And so I don't want to see this be a complete review of the update. I don't think it's necessary. But the one issue that time and time again came up was the inclusion of language regarding the natural gas. So, Charlie, if something else came up, I mean, I don't think we're gonna reject it. We'll take anything that this panel gives to the board in consideration.
Right.
But I think that's mainly the charge of them.
Definitely.
Yes.
But clearly, I would hope that it would include addressing the concerns that the county planning letter raised.
That's basically why we're doing this,
Yeah, they recommended it.
They recommended it.
I mean, their recommendations ought to be,
Well, there's other recommendations there too, that, as far as making a separate plan for heavy industrial use, but we're not gonna go there. This is a comprehensive plan.
Yeah, I had Ms. Reed back here first.
Linda Wright, I have a question about whether the agricultural and farmland protection plan will be reviewed in this, because it's an appendix to the comprehensive plan, and it does contain a statement about gas drilling.
No.
Why not?
The farmland protection plan was worked on by a very broad-based committee, was sent to our county, was sent to our state. I have reviews of it that were both from the county and the state were in high regard, and in my opinion, that's the plan that's in place. It hasn't the question that come up, it's been on the comprehensive plan. So the answer to your question, Ms. Reich, is no. It's on what we simply said, was on the comprehensive plan that has been brought to this board for its adoption.
I don't understand the answer, because the comprehensive plan clearly states that the agricultural and farmland protection plan is part of the comprehensive plan.
That's correct.
And so the agriculture plan should be considered by this review panel, as well as the current document of the 60-page comprehensive plan.
Anybody else want to take that?
Well, if I may,
Yeah.
the charge of the committee, of this advisory committee, is to develop language for consideration by the board as to what should be in the comprehensive plan regarding natural gas drilling, whether there should be no language, whether there should be different language or the same language. So the committee can certainly make a recommendation, regardless of what's in the agricultural protection plan, what they feel the comprehensive plan should state. So it could be undertaken if the committee says there should be a strong, should be nothing about it, there'll be nothing about it. If they think there should be a strong statement against it or for it, they'll make that recommendation. So your concern would be covered that way because the committee will make that recommendation as to what language about natural gas drilling will be put into the comprehensive plan. The fact that there is an agricultural protection plan that's been adopted, that's not gonna be changed as part of this review, doesn't prohibit this committee from making its own recommendations about natural gas drilling. Is that basically what you want the committee to do?
Yeah.
Did I state it correctly? Or?
Again, when I answered the question here before to Ms. Lee was, I believe the board's intention was to limit it to, maybe limit's the wrong word. I mean, the issue that's come up over and over is in the comprehensive plan update was the inclusion of the language regarding natural gas drilling. It hasn't been about the farmland protection plan. That's been adopted 3 years ago, 4 years ago almost. So again, and that's my opinion on it. I mean, if something comes from the review panel back to the board, you know, we'll look at everything that's given to us. I mean, that's our job. So, yes, sir. I'm sorry, I had you put go ahead.
The executive summary of the comprehensive plan itself says that a comprehensive plan should reflect the vision of the people of the town. This is the recommendation of the New York State Department of State in their report on comprehensive plans. It's indicated in law 272, town law, New York State law. What criteria will the committee use to determine what its recommendations are with regard to this language? Will they be asked to look at the vision of the people of the town as it's been expressed and make a decision on that basis, or are they being asked to set aside what a comprehensive plan is supposed to do and find other criteria to make this decision?
Anybody want to take that? I'm at this time, I think the people that will be appointed to this panel will have to make that decision, and again, ultimately it comes back to the town board. But I think that's why the people that are appointed to it are gonna have the duties to do just that. I can't tell what they're gonna put forth to our board, but certainly it's gonna be in the hands of this volunteer review panel.
I think that's an issue, is the vision, and we don't really know as a board what that really is, you know. They talk about the silent majority or not, we don't know what it is. I wish we could find that number.
Well, we have a postcard survey with 1,000 people in town that was supervised by the editors of our local newspapers. We have 500 comments on the town of people on the record with their opinion. This is a small town. These are substantial numbers. I think we do know, you have the community survey the board conducted, and there are comments in that. To set all this aside and say we don't have this information when we have it is preposterous. The law is clear, the recommendations in New York State is clear, the plan itself is clear. I'm just asking, do you intend to have the committee follow the law, follow the recommendations in New York State, and follow the plan's own executive summary, and find on that basis what should be done with this language? Or they can free to just pick and choose what this group of 5 or 8 people chooses to do on their own and disregard what the other 1,000 people say? That's my question.
The issue is the language in the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the way the plan is written. That's what the comments were on the 239 was the language. And that's been the comment from everybody, a lot of people in there. And that's what they're gonna work on, that language.
Right.
Whether we take it out, whether we leave it in, or whether we make some kind of modification to it, that's what they're gonna be.
The 239 found fault with that language because it was not supported by the community input. So I'm asking you, are you now going to look to the community input, to look what people have said on the record, to look how they answered the community survey, to look what they did with the postcard survey, and use that information? Or they can set aside the meaning of comp plan and do something entirely. Okay, in other words, they're not bound by what a comp plan is in New York State law. That's an answer.
That's my opinion.
Hold on a second. We had a couple back here first. Fred, I know, has been waiting again.
You had a committee that drafted the revamped comprehensive master plan for the last 2-3 years. Spent a lot of time on it. You had professional help come in to help draft this thing. why don't you use the same committee to make the corrections that the 239 law is, the county people for using the 239 law? Use the existing committee to make those changes that the 239 is asking for. Have you talked about that at all?
No, we haven't really.
No.
I mean, they've already spent the time on it, they're familiar with everything that's in it, they've already studied the town and everything.
I think they could be on that committee, but I don't know if they really want to be on that committee.
Well, that's, yeah.
I mean, they're entitled to write their name down and get involved if they'd like, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the only thing, I think one of the questions from one of our residents that met with Scott and I was if anybody on the town board would be on it, and we answered that as no. No one on the town board thought it would be correct to sit on that committee, so. Yeah, I just got them all over the place, so if we're out of order, I'm sorry. Jill, you haven't spoken yet.
Yeah, so Jill Weiner, Callicoon Center. I think just going back to Bruce's question and Nancy's question about the charge of the committee. I think, I read the 239 review letter, and I've read the comp plan many times, and I've read pretty much every single one of the comments that have come into the town board and the comp plan committee, because I've foiled every single one of them at great expense, and great expense to Janet too. But I will say that I think, and my understanding is that the issue isn't the language as much as it is that the plan is not reflective of what the town residents have expressed as what their desire is, which goes back to the actual job of a comp plan. So maybe changing the charge to the committee to make sure that the comp plan is actually doing the job of a comp plan as dictated by the state law about comp plans, it should be the charge, not whether the language should be in or out, but is the comp plan actually reflecting the wishes of the town residents? And the evidence, as Bruce said, is, I think, pretty clear from the town survey, from the postcard, the independent postcards, and from the comments that have come into this board and the comp plan committee.
Okay. Thank you for that comment. And everything here tonight is certainly, taken into consideration when this panel is officially appointed and given their duties. So everything will be taken into account.
Well, will you, over the next couple of days, maybe come up with something that you can post on the website? What are the duties, about how many hours you?
Jill, I wouldn't answer that because I don't know how you would put that on. I mean, other people have asked that, how much time we have to commit. I don't think any one of us can answer that.
So you don't have an end time to when you would want this review done?
We haven't set a deadline for that, no. I think we set a deadline for the sign-up period, and again, I can't tell until after they've met, maybe two times, I don't know.
How are you gonna choose them?
Once we receive the list of names, the board will consider each and every one, and we'll try and make certainly a fair choice of individuals that we think are knowledgeable of the plan, that we hope that all views are considered. And you know what I mean by that? We want a fair, we don't want a one-sided,
Balance.
a balanced approach or review of the plan, and try and make it very fair. I don't know how else to answer that, but I think we're gonna try, so, yes, sir.
Mike Breland, Youngsville. This may be a little picky, but it goes right to what we were saying. Are the committee recommendations going to be by consensus or by majority vote? That's a fundamental different way of approaching the task. Personally, I think it should be consensus. It takes longer, but it's language, then it would be language everyone could live with. If it's majority, you're still going to have what we have now. People happy, people unhappy.
Good point. I can't answer all of them tonight, Mike,
Something to
but
consider.
it's good points unless somebody else wants to take that. But I am certainly writing it down, so. very good point.
Mhm.
Who else did we have here? No? Okay, very good. All right. Anyone else? Mr. Same time, so we'll go with the lady first.
Go ahead.
Linda, please.
Well, as for Mr. Freeze's comment,
Identify
Linda
yourself.
Babbitt,
Thank you.
Youngsville, thank you. As per Fred Freeze's remark, I am a bit puzzled as to why the original group that was given the appointment to draft the comprehensive plan would not take on this task of doing the, of looking at the language. And as we said, I don't think it's a matter of changing it to reflect what's already been given and noted as being what the community wants. Why wouldn't the original panel do that? I don't see the necessity for a new panel. It's their responsibility. They were given the responsibility.
I believe they feel they did. So, but point well taken. And, I'm just speaking because of the people that sat on that for almost 3 years. I think they felt that they had provided the town board with the best possible document. So, you can look at that both ways. Do they feel they want to spend more time because they felt they've already have? Or do they want to let some new faces, new voices have some sort of a different approach to it to also present to this board? So the board can consider that. We can talk to the original committee members, see if they would be interested. We had some people that expressed concern that they shouldn't be. So as we've seen people that have expressed wanting them to be, we've seen people that say they don't think they should be. So the board will consider that.
That's my next.
Mr. Shoup?
Yes, Al Shoup, Callicoon Center. Has Marvin ruled on the open meetings aspect of this?
He did, good question, and I'll let Marvin address that. It's
Yeah,
about
this is going to be an advisory committee to give their advice and recommendations to the town board. They don't have any power to adopt. So under the open meetings law, they're not a public body. However, and subject to the board, the information, and Tom had talked to me that despite the fact that they're not covered by the open meetings law as a public body, I think it was the intent of the town that the meetings be public, so everyone would have an opportunity to observe what goes on and notice, so nothing be done privately or without notice. But they're not subject to the open meetings law, it's not subject to public comment, but I believe it's the intention of the town to charge the committee to notice and have their meetings open to the public. So the answer, it's not an open meeting, but they're gonna consider it and operate as in an open manner.
I think in our discussion when we talked about, I would address it or it'd be a workshop as opposed to a meeting because that can be construed. Workshop can be or cannot be open to the public. In my opinion, and I think all the board members would agree that it should be open to the public. However, the public comment, as the other workshops have not always been allowed. They do not have to be allowed. That's up again to the review panel. But again, thank you for doing research on it. Does that answer you?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. We had somebody else again back before you, but I forget where it was.
Oh,
No one else? Okay.
Mike's suggestion was a very good one, consensus. Without that, the findings of the committee are going to essentially be determined by who's picked. I would just like to point out that there are 484 people on the record in this town opposed to the language we're talking about now. There are 15 people in this town who are in favor of it. To select a committee, for example, that is made up of 3 people in favor of the language as written and 3 people who oppose the language as written is not a balanced committee, given the fact that you got 485 people on one side and 15 on the other. If you want a representative committee, it's maybe a little different than a balanced committee. A representative committee should be weighted with where the expressed opinion is. It should, in the postcard survey, it was 2/3 of the people in town opposed to gas drilling. a weighted committee should represent the people in the town like any representative body would. It would not be a balanced, quote-unquote, committee to have 3 people of the 15 who like the language on the committee with 3 of the 485 people who oppose the language.
All right, back to me. So, just following up on the discussion about the committee, or going back to this new committee, or going back to the previous comp plan committee to remove the language or adjust the language. The county asked for, from what I understand from the 239 review letter, the county asked for the board to remove this language.
They use the word edit,
Edit, yeah, I think, yeah, edit.
but that's what I took it as.
Yeah,
Correct.
right, remove, so edit or remove this language. Why wouldn't the board just do that?
Well, to answer that again, I'm one board member. We've had a number of people, I won't mention names, that have expressed views of anti-gas drilling, that have told us, different members of this board, that they feel the language should be in there, but have openly expressed their views against fracking. So, again, we're trying to do the right thing here,
Wait, I don't understand what you're saying, can you say that again?
okay? We've had people in our community that have openly expressed their opinion as opposing fracking. And they have said to some of the board members that they feel the language should be left as it is, or maybe modified somewhat. They don't feel that it should be removed. So they agreed with the board's reply to the 239 review, that they didn't think it would be responsible. But it's a possibility. The board has discussed that as well, that if we were to remove everything, we just approve the 1980 plan as written. And we have the comprehensive plan that's been in place for that many years. So I'm not saying that's what we're doing, but the board has that option. And it, you know, what I'm hearing here tonight, maybe that's what we have to do. I don't know, but I think once this committee is, or review panel is appointed, and they have a chance to at least meet and come back to this board with some recommendations, suggestions, before they all quit, then we can.
Now, you're looking at this room and thinking we're quitters, Tom, come on.
Well, to answer your question, that's exactly, we could do that.
Right.
If we removed everything, I didn't feel that was being responsible, thus my response or the board's response to the county. Yes.
Sorry, I
We got on here, we had his hand up all night, it's gonna get
All
cramped.
right.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, all right. No? Oh, go back to
All
it.
right, so back to me. So, which is where I like the attention.
Changing that language is the only thing that's going to make a difference between 1980 and now. I find that very difficult to believe, since it took 3 years to put this plan together. And I really feel that the board should take on the responsibility of editing. I don't think anyone here is saying to you, you must remove it. It's to reflect the views of the major portion of your public, of your voting public. And I really think that the board should take on the responsibility of editing it or removing it.
So you're saying don't appoint any panel? Okay, so that's.
I think you had a panel, and the panel
Excuse me?
worked on it for 3 years.
That's very hard to do, I might add.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, very hard, I might
So-
add.
But I'm just saying though, so you're suggesting don't appoint a panel, leave it to the board, make the decision, adopt the plan as is, remove language. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that I believe that, having heard from so many people in our communities, that you know what the general feeling is, and that you should take the bull by the horns and make a decision as to what should be done with the language.
All right.
So, and
Hold on a
it wouldn't be removing
Hold
all
on
the
a
lat.
second.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think the lady was done.
Okay.
So, or maybe you will. I'm sorry.
That's essentially it, Tom. I really think you've had the panel, they've been working on it. If it doesn't go back to them, you know, everything doesn't just go smoothly. I also would like to mention that with the Farmland Preservation Act, plan, I should say, that plan, we're also saying, is now 4 years old. These plans are supposed to be living documents, and they are supposed to be reviewed. I believe it's recommended every 5 years. So going back and looking at the language that was in that plan, I don't think that's inappropriate at this time. It's
It
4 years
was
old.
adopted in 2010. And again, I know you've seen the reviews from the county and as well as from Ag and Markets. And not to say it wouldn't be, and we never had a farmland preservation plan prior to this one. As this plan has noted that it will be revisited in 5 years, the comprehensive plan, and it could be before that if it becomes necessary. But it does state, I believe in the summary, that it will be reviewed in 5 years. But I just want to go back to what you said, and I want to be clear on it. In your opinion, this board should make the decision without any appointment of any other volunteer review panel. Is that correct? I just want to be on record and be clear about it, because I don't want to later on say, no, that's not what I said.
I'm saying you should take responsibility, yes, of reviewing it and looking at.
With
what
no
people-
other
if-
volunteers.
But you have had a tremendous amount of input from the public, and you are supposed to be taking that
Answer my
into
question, please,
consideration.
just so we're clear. You do not want us to appoint any more volunteers to any more panels. We've received a document that the committee that was appointed originally, when you were supervisor, that they believe they have provided this board with the best possible document they can. So you're saying that now we should go ahead and make the
When it's coming
decision?
back to you, it's been refuted that it's not the best possible
Okay,
plan.
all right, I gotta go on the next one, I'm not getting an answer from you, so I know. so
Tom,
you got the
excuse me,
answer.
Tom, one of the things I would like to say, you were mentioning that when I was supervisor, the
That's when we
draft
appointed
committee
the committee.
was appointed.
Correct.
I believe that everybody on this board and many people in this room know that I very much wanted the original draft committee to be made up of a great deal of more diverse members, not people that were simply already appointees of the town in one way or another. And that, so I think this is putting, it's going backwards. It wasn't in the right lineup as far as I'm concerned, as how it was done.
I, just as a member of this town who participates in our democratic process, I am sick and tired of being held hostage to some notion of the secret silent majority, the people who are not on record. This issue's been out here before the town for 3 years. Everybody in this town's had an opportunity to weigh in on this, and a lot of people have. And for our views, those of us who have spoken up to be discounted because supposedly there's some people who have not spoken up is an outrage, and it should be stopped right now, and it should not be irresponsible of anyone on the board to mention this. That plan could be fixed in 1 hour. I could sit there with that plan and go through in 1 hour and remove the crap that was inserted in there that has no basis in the public. No, I'm not done. I've got one more thing to say, and add the sentence that it's incompatible with the town.
Yeah, I wasn't finished.
I think, Ann Hart, Youngsville, sorry. I think sort of the crux of this about what Linda was saying is a concern that all of us have. There was a committee. The committee spent a lot of time, a lot of hours, a lot of input on it. They made their recommendations. The county reviewed it. In the normal course of things, the town board then looks at it, takes it into account, and decides what to do. So, So throwing in this additional review panel, it's out of the order. It's out of the ordinary. It's not something that normally happens, and you have an issue which is very divisive in the town, and a lot of people have expressed about it. So it's sort of the question that's being asked, sort of, I believe, the same question in different ways is, why are you doing it this way? Is this an attempt to gauge what the people think yet again in another way? Is it going to supplant all the other community input? Why this step? And I, for one, I'm still not clear on why this step. So maybe I'm trying to rephrase in a different way the question.
Well, I appreciate trying to rephrase that, and I'll try and rephrase it. I think with the controversial issue that has been so controversial, and I spoke to that last month, that the board is simply trying to do what we feel to be the right thing. And we could have moved on it and adopted the plan as is a month ago. We didn't. So we felt maybe having more of a voice from some people that have had concern about this, but by the number of speakers here tonight, maybe it's not the right thing to do. Maybe we don't appoint anyone. I'd still like to afford that opportunity and see what we have by next month's meeting. And, you know, at that time, we can abide by the deadline that we've set for a sign-up, or we just make the suggestion and the decision that there will be no review panel. I gotta go here because he hasn't spoken yet. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Richard Kreisner, Callicoon Center. I sense that you, I sympathize with. I mean, you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, and it seems that what might be helpful for you, or if I was in your position, I would think of it as, you know, like what criteria are you going to use to appoint, you know, for the appointments, for the people who are going to be on this. And I think that's, you know, as somebody mentioned, you know, like have half on one side, half on the other side, and, you know, or 2/3, you know, like have the people on there who reflect the community. And it's probably in the beginning of the comp plan, there's, you know, something, an order why there is a comp plan, you know, is to do this and this and this for the town, or why we have a government at all. And so what it seems that the people who would be on this, and who were on the original comp plan, or the, you know, the people who put together the farm plan, that what they should be doing is the criteria would be two things: preserving the economy of the town. You know, like everybody's, you know, the value of their land, you know, their asset, which, you know, for most people it's the, you know, the biggest asset is their home or their land, and which is the thing that I'm, you know, probably most concerned about. And the other thing is to preserve the quality of life that we have in the town. I mean, right now, I mean, how many of you have your keys in your truck, and how many of you have your house open yet? You know, people don't lock their doors around here. The quality, you know, just as an example of the quality of life. So the people who are on this, they should have, I think, these two things, which probably, before gas drilling, was an issue, were the important things. If you ask people what's important, you know, these are the things, and they're still the things. These are still the two most important things. Now, how that, I think everybody, you know, kind of senses that, and you're probably trying to figure out how you can set up something where the majority of the people are convinced that this is what you're trying to do. Am I making sense? No.
I'm sorry. I lost you, but,
okay, just two things. The criteria.
That made sense on it, because you told me two things.
Okay.
After that, I lost it. So, no,
And just
I'm not making
a
any
little
sense.
footnote. Our son, who's climbs mountains and things, he came through, he was in, drove from North Dakota.
I just stop you a minute.
This is half a sentence.
Yeah.
People there, the biggest complaint they had was the quality of life. You know, the money's coming in, but the life is getting piss poor. And that, it really, you know, really bothered them.
Well,
but anyway.
Well, what I'm getting at tonight, this wasn't an open forum on quality of life or gas drilling per se. It was, again, on questions that would come about in the appointment of this panel and what their duties would be if appointed. And I think that's where we gotta be.
Yeah, and
Okay,
that's why, you know, the criteria that, you know, it seems to me that should be forefront in your mind. Okay. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to comment on the conversation that was going on with you, Mr. Bose, and Linda Babbitts. I was listening as carefully as I could, and I thought you were actually dissecting her statement and then running with the part about there should be no extra committee and you should just do what you think is best. I think when you did that, when you dissected her statement, you left out the part, and Linda, correct me if I'm off here, that you should do your responsibility and reflect the wishes of the people. I believe that's what she said.
That's correct.
And that is correct. So please do not dissect the statement and direct the board or the minutes to show that that a statement was suggested that you not do anything different.
To actually repeat what she said, because I wanted to be clear.
Okay, but then you complained that she wasn't
I
answering, and
didn't-
she was answering.
Hold on. Peter.
Peter Lorenzo, Callicoon Center. The judges in the Supreme Court pass laws that affect every American in the country, right, wouldn't you say?
Well,
Now, do
they-
they ask,
they
do they
decide
ask,
on it.
do they ask for input?
This is to the board, so go ahead.
Do they ask for input from every American as to their decision? I think we're doing pretty good here. We're trying.
We're trying. Thank you. If nobody else, I'm coming to you.
Yeah, right.
Is there anyone else in the audience first? Because you said one.
That's our safety for
Is there anyone
last.
else?
That's good.
Just to give you a breakout. If you make changes, if you do appoint the committee and you do make changes, this is more or less for Marvin, do you have to go through the public hearing portions again? Like what you...
I believe that there's called substantive, and correct me, if there's substantive changes.
Substantial. If they're not minor, we should have a public hearing if you're going to present another plan. If they're minor changes, that would be a matter of the board to describe. In the board's discretion, that you wouldn't need it, but if something major is going to be changed from what was presented, the public would have an opportunity to be heard on it. I would just like to comment, what Peter said, there's nothing wrong with having advisory committees. Many municipalities have it. The county appoints advisory committees to get public input on issues that come before them and policies. Even the courts, Peter, a lot of times people who aren't even involved in the case file what's called, they have to get permission, amicus curiae briefs, because they have a point of view to be presented. So different points of view and information, it can't be harmful to make a final decision. And I think that what the board is trying to do, especially in light of the 239 review, which we've gone on record of, disagreeing with, but taking into consideration, is get some more input. And that's really what this discussion is about.
Well, the only thing with appointing a new committee, you'll get into what Richard got into. You're going to get into the whole concept of the comprehensive plan. So therefore, it's not just going to be on one topic. It could be, with your new board, your advisory committee, they could really start overhauling the whole thing and scuttling the work that had been done for 3 years by David and the original committee.
But that's, again, if I may, that was answered in the beginning. That's not going to be the charge of this committee. They asked me for a name of it. I thought it'd be called a Comprehensive Plan Modification Advisory Committee. In light of the comments made in the 239M review, which really centered on language that was in the plan, which stated I wouldn't call it pro or anti-natural gas. What was stated was there could be some economic considerations or things that would happen, and there could be some environmental, and it was just a statement of what might happen, not pro or con. But the charge of the committee, as I understand it, is to address those concerns of the county and advise this board as to whether that language should be modified, left in, taken out, and the committee would decide, on the scope of how far it wants to go as far as making their recommendations and what they have to do. I think we'd leave it to the committee.
That's what I'm saying, how far they want to go. So that could go beyond the original 239 comments.
No, I think it's limited, the charge is limited to that modification, not whether or not, well, I'll let Dave discuss it.
Get into the other
No,
parts
if you
of
get
the
into,
comprehensive
so you don't
plan.
get into revamping the whole process all over
No,
again, so it's
no.
another 3 years or 5 years.
No, just the issue at hand. and our intent was to get some more income from the public, not necessarily for or against gas drilling, people's comments, okay? And we would try to pick people from the list we get. I mean, I'm sure there's not, I don't know yet how we're gonna do that. We just, you'd have to rely on us to be responsible enough to pick up some people that would, and people, there's people that are signing up wanna be on it, so
So far.
so. Maybe now,
I
that
think
might change, they might pull their name
We're
out.
waiting till tonight, and that may change the minds of some, so. Peter, I gotta wait, because I know Jill's been waiting, so go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to address a little bit what Pete said about the Supreme Court and compare that to what's going on with a comp plan. And a comprehensive plan, and I'll just say this out loud so that we all understand it, is unique in that what it does is it is supposed to be reflective of the wishes of the majority of the people in the town. And so public input is necessary. And I think when I said remove gas drilling language, most of the letters that came in and most of the comments were really to remove the positive references to gas drilling and man camps in the comp plan. And further that, many of the letters also said that there should be a statement added to the comprehensive plan that basically that gas drilling and or high impact industrial activities that would include gas drilling by hydraulic fracturing are incompatible with preserving the rural character of the town. And I think that's really what the crux of the matter is preserving the rural character of the town.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, what I was trying to say was, I think the board and the residents are trying to work together and get something done here, without somebody just saying, like the Supreme Court, that's it, that's the law of the land. We don't care what the American people feel, so hopefully we'll come to some kind of a good agreement.
An argument to choose a different committee, other than the people who put it together, is that they presented what they thought was the best possible scenario. That's all I want to say.
And that's what I had said.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else on this topic? If not, I really appreciate this, the way it went tonight, and again, I know it's highly
Can we say
charged.
good luck?
We will when we appoint.
Prayers?
To who?
But I do appreciate, I know the board shares that feeling, so, we'll continue it. And I agree with Peter 100%. I think we are trying to do what we feel to present the best document. So I'd like to ask this young man here, he's been waiting. Ed, go ahead. Just
I have a
identify
question.
yourself for everybody so they all.
Eddie Moran from the farm down the road.
Stonewall Farms.
Stonewall Farms.
Which I'll
I have
just
a
plug you a
question.
little bit. We do have an event coming up.
Yeah.
For free, all breed beef cattle
For
clinic.
people in here about saving the rural areas and stuff. How many people in here know what it's like to live on a royal farm and make a living that way?
I do.
That's what I mean. That's just my question.
No,
Because it's
Peter,
like
I'm-
about saving the
Peter, I got somebody else.
saving the land and against fracking and all this, but they don't really realize how much it would help. Like all the farmers that are going out. Because if the farmers keep going out, there's not going to be any more royal land. That was my thought of this.
Ed, I know, and I know your family's been in a long time, so I would make a suggestion.
Well, I don't.
Put your name on the list.
I'm not saying. I gotta go home and do
Can I ask you
chores.
one question?
What's that?
How old are you?
17.
Okay, thank you.
But I'm not saying that I need it because I'll survive no matter what.
Well,
I'm just saying that
I'm glad
I
you're
work
here.
for a lot of people
I'm glad
that
you're here.
could use the extra help and push that are can't even afford to pay me $4 an hour to milk cows. So that's just my thought on that.
Again, this is the
That's my thought on that.
Everybody aware of Stonewall Farms just up the road, and we hope to support all of our farms. Okay, so I think we're gonna end that discussion right now on the review panel. We will extend the deadline until next month's meeting, the May meeting. I'd like to ask that, I think we did that already, if I'm sure we can get a couple of PSAs, public service announcements, that won't cost the town anything to advertise this. We'll continue to leave it on the website. For volunteers, word of mouth is good, and hopefully we'll get some people now that will or will not decide to be on it. So at that, I'd like to leave it at that. We still have a couple other things, board comments, and we have actually open floor yet. So I'd just like to ask the board, at our park pavilion, we developed the park in Callicoon Center, built the basketball court, the ball fields, and 2 years ago or 3, we built the pavilion. What we didn't do, we tried to do this over a course of time, was finish it piecemeal. And what we need to finish is our kitchen area. So if people do want to use it, or out-of-town residents rent it from us for a day or a couple hours, whatever, they have facilities to be able to prepare food. So I just would like to ask the board that we start on that mission to try and put in whatever is necessary in the kitchen area, so we can start getting, some costs, and maybe we can find some, I would suggest going up to Kaiser Equipment, maybe, and they have treated our fire company very well. Some used equipment, but we need refrigerator, stove, sink, some counter space. We need to open up a serving window out underneath the pavilion. So I just I don't know if somebody would like to be on that committee, Charlie?
I'd love to be.
I'll be on that committee.
And Dave too?
Yeah.
Okay. And, we can all work on it together, but
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
just like to get started on it, so maybe we can get
You want us to
something.
find some prices out on different pieces of equipment, okay.
Yeah. And we should look around. I mean, White Sulphur's got a pretty nice park there at their Fireman's Park, and there's others that do, and see, I don't believe it's gonna be a large cost, but we gotta take some prices, so.
I know where there's a kitchen that they're gonna demolish the building and it's got a new stove in it,
Oh,
commercial
okay.
stove, so maybe.
Okay, all right, so we'll, and of course, anybody can add to that too if they like, if they have some ideas on that, but I'd like to get that at least so we can use that. Last year, we had requested proposals to do some repair work at the Youngsville Water Treatment Plant building, which is deteriorating and needs it's in dire need of repairs. We did get 3 proposals. We held off on them because, quite true, for this year, we had to spend a significant amount of money, the water district, and purchase a new reader. And meter, the heads, and we did that successfully. It's working well. But the building is again in need of repair. We've kept all the proposals. I did speak with the gentleman that gave us the lowest quote on the proposals, and it was Albert Tile Contracting from Callicoon Center. And it was 3/27/12, March 27th. And we had given them a scope of work as developed by our code enforcement, I believe, at the time. And we have that here. The low proposal from Albert Tiles was for $9,600. I had talked to Albert, and he said he was a little ill, but he was willing to do the work. And what I had said to him, I know it's been a year. I know it's down here somewhere that it's good for, yeah, it's for 30 days. So, but he is less than half of the next proposal. So we had another quote of, the highest one was $24,500, and the one in between was $22,000. I had suggested that night, and he thought it was a good idea that we do a joint workshop with the village board and invite members of our IDA, and certainly get it advertised so we can have our business owners from not just Jeffersonville, but from our Callicoon Center and North Branch, Chandler, Youngsville, and have a workshop. Village is located, it's a separate entity, but it's located within our town. And I think it'd be a good thing to have with them, maybe, occasionally. But I think with this one, I would like to invite the IDA members that would want to come and present some of their programs, what might be available to some of our retail on our main streets, but they don't have to be on Main Street, but within our town. So Dave and I were talking about this, and we're trying to think of a date to have this. Maybe we could do it here in May. I think, probably trying to do it this month is too soon because we want to advertise it. We want to get people to come. We kind of thought maybe on a Friday evening. Saturday would probably be difficult because that's when most of our businesses are busy. and they would have to close or at least for some time. So we thought maybe on a Friday evening. I don't know what the rest of the board thinks of that, but that's our suggestion.
You were going like June, you were talking in June's maybe?
I'm sorry,
In June?
May, June, we ought to do it soon. Our summer months are coming, and that's our,
No, I thought you said we're pretty busy in May.
no, April. I mean, it's almost, too late for April, but if we
Okay.
could get it in May sometime.
Okay.
I'll speak with the village and see what's good for them. What do you think, Friday evening would be?
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Well, I'll just throw a date in there, like the 24th or something like that, or the 17th.
It's Memorial Day Friday.
Yeah.
Not that, yeah, that's right.
Okay. But we can come up with that, and we'll check it with the village and see what they think, and again, give it enough time that we can get the word out as well. All right? Yeah? Everybody good with that?
Yep.
Or any suggestions? Okay. Last thing I want to bring up is has to do with our shred day and cleanup. Last year, and for a couple times, the town co-sponsored with Catskill Hudson Bank and offered a shred for your documents that you wanted shredded. This year, we have approached Jeff Bank, and they've been pleased to co-sponsor it with us this year, coming on the 100th anniversary of Jeff Bank. But we can't schedule the shred truck in the spring, and we had to book them for a fall date. So tentatively, we booked them for September 14th. So we hope we can set dates for a fall cleanup of that. That's a Saturday, correct? The
Yeah, that's a
14th.
Saturday.
That's good, because I was worried about the comprehensive plan going right down the tube.
So if we can set a date for the fall cleanup of maybe the 13th to the 16th, which would be Friday through Monday, September.
We did a couple of times in the fall. We just did 3 days.
You're right.
We did 4 in the spring.
Yeah.
We did a little
Okay.
bit.
So that they can have time to.
So you want to do the Monday or the
Let's do
Friday?
Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Okay, so it'd be 14th through the 16th.
Yeah.
You are okay with that? You want to check anything?
Yeah, no, that should be, I'm okay with that.
Okay, well,
That
we,
was- and then they pick the dumpsters up on Monday or Tuesday, just during the week, so it falls a little bit better.
okay. So the 14th through the 16th, and we co-sponsor this Shred Day event with Jeff Bank. Everybody good with that?
Yep.
All right, we need a motion to set those dates.
Motion. Second.
Howard and Charlie.
Howard and Charlie.
Howard and Charlie.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I think that's all I have. Sorry, it didn't take that long, but the board have anything they want to bring up quickly?
No, we got a lot to think about. That's all.
Okay. Public comment at this time. I'd just like to limit a little bit in length here so we don't run too late, but at this point, go ahead. Anybody? I know you do, Ms. Wright. Just a little second. Is there anybody else at this time with anything? Okay. I just would ask you to keep it brief. I know your email wanted like 10 minutes, but.
I know you want more like 3 minutes.
Well.
Okay,
just-
fine. I'm giving you the paper that I'd like to describe tonight, and here's just a list of the main items from it, which I need this, and it helps us to see it visually. There's a brand new scientific publication.
Pull it back to you, just so I don't want it to fall on Chris's head.
There's a brand new scientific publication that came out in February in the journal called Energy Policy. And it's a peer-reviewed science paper that describes a fully developed plan for New York State to use all electric power generated from wind, water, and solar sources by the year 2030. And I believe it's important to present this to town officials and representatives so that they can think about the the benefits of this plan, such as job creation, energy price stability, reduced power demand, and improved health of residents. Remember, this is a peer-reviewed science paper. It is not a purchased advertisement for a particular point of view. It's not coming from a trade journal where the editors are all of the same similar views. The lead author is Mark Z. Jacobson. He's a professor of civil and environmental engineering at Stanford University in California. His work has earned credibility and is gaining notoriety, and he states, quote, "It is absolutely not true that we need natural gas, coal, or oil," unquote. This is both astounding and true. His calculations have been done multiple times over. So here are the highlights on the first page of that paper. There are 5 points he likes to make, that by 2030, all power in New York State could, I'm sorry,
No, it's okay.
could come from wind, water, and sun. And because electricity is so much more efficient than burning fossil fuels, the total power demand would be down by 37% statewide. More jobs would be created than the jobs lost, and fuel prices would be totally stable because wind, water, and sun require no fossil fuels. There's zero cost of fuel in these plans. And finally, the plan pays for itself in only 17 years if you only consider the benefits from reducing deaths from air pollution. The deaths from air pollution and the related healthcare costs are 3% of the gross domestic product in New York State every year. So here's the split of the kinds of energy that they have calculated they would use. There would be 10% onshore wind power. There would be 40% offshore wind power, and that's the highest percentage of any of these types of energies. There would be 10% concentrated solar. There would be 10% photovoltaic solar plants. These are massive, large-scale plants to provide community electricity. There would be 6% residential rooftop photovoltaic. There would be 12% commercial and government rooftop photovoltaic. There would be 5% geothermal, and there would be 5.5% hydroelectric. There's not much room left for growth in hydroelectric in New York State. About 80-something% of hydroelectric that's available is already being used. They can only add turbines to so many more, a few more dams that are here. But Canada, for instance, is producing 63% of its power from hydroelectric already. So I'm very excited about this plan because the technologies are already here and they are being used in New York State. They're being used in other states of our nation and in other countries very successfully. And rather than our current fuel strategies where only a relatively small number of people benefit, this plan benefits every single person in some way or another. So I would welcome the opportunity to come back and return and present this plan in more detail as an agenda item where we could have questions and we could have discussion. It's just the wave of the future, and we can do this. It's already being done elsewhere, and it's something that everybody could get behind and everybody could benefit from. Brand new paper in Science, but I've been following him since 2009. He's very credible, and the group that he's with.
Thank you.
Good question.
Okay, if there's nothing else, then I think we need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Thank you. Hold on, we've got somebody in the back. I am so sorry.
Mr. Bose and the town board, my name is Pete McAfee. I live on Pete's Road. I don't know if the town's aware of it, but there's a wetlands going in up my area. Are you aware of that?
Go by a wetlands going in, I'm not sure.
There's a neighbor that's going to take a piece of his property, I believe, and make it wetlands. Is anybody aware of that?
No, I'm not. Chris is
I
telling
met
me
with the
the piece,
excavator
and
there.
I'm aware of the.
I met with the excavator just because he wanted to ask about equipment and loading and unloading, but as I understood it, I thought he was permitted through soil and water.
Okay. Through soil and water, does he got a DEC permit, do you know?
I don't know about DEC. I think he met with soil and water, and I don't, you know.
Okay. In other words, the town's not aware of it.
No.
Well, basically, soil and water always helps us apply for DEC permits, and so I'm assuming if he went through them.
Yeah,
they're
I'm sure he's
gonna
got
tell
all his I's and T's.
Pete, if you want to call me tomorrow or something, I can get you set up with Brian Brussman or John Klein from Soil and Water, and they could certainly probably.
Well, what, does the town require anything, the zoning board, or any permits or anything be required?
This is something new.
Was it a pond or lake?
I don't know.
How many
I-
acres?
Well, I don't know that either. I'm gonna find that out tomorrow.
There's nothing in our zoning that regulates
Okay.
ponds.
The DEC does.
I realize the DEC does, but if this wetlands goes in, then it could be possibly a hard time for any work that's done by the town down through there, have to have special permits being within the wetlands. my
When you say any
property
work done by the
becomes.
town,
Huh?
When you, I'm not sure, and you could address that to code enforcement if you'd like.
Okay.
And any work done by the town, are you talking road work or?
Obviously, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of times that road's flooded out. And, you know, we've had a little problem with Mr. Cormier in the past. And it could create more problems.
I will check with Soil and Water and find out a little more about this, and I'll have
I
Kevin.
also understand that if you have wetlands, you can get a tax reduction. I don't know if that's applied for at the time or not.
For a lot of things, but that one I'm not aware of.
Okay.
But I'm not denying it.
Well, I've just last minute been on the computer. I just found this out today. And it involves my property. If you have wetlands, on a boundary of a wetlands, it's 100 feet. If he puts that 100 feet boundary near me, on the other side of the road, then of course I can't do nothing with my piece of land. I mean, 100 feet is 100 feet. I'm paying taxes on it.
Sure.
And it becomes a wetland, and it's no good to anybody.
Yeah, no, this is something new before this board. Nothing that we're, or code enforcement is aware of that I know of.
But Chris has spoken to the
Oh, he
gentleman.
called me because he said he might have somebody unloading equipment on the road.
Yeah, there's equipment there today.
Oh, they did drop it. See, I only met him there it was already last year,
Yeah.
and then he never did anything.
Yeah.
So
So presumably he's gonna start something.
Okay.
There's two sizes from what I've read on the computer. 12 acres, I believe it is, or over, becomes a large wetland. Anything under 12 acres is minimal, they call it. So I don't know what the jurisdiction is, you know, or what's involved.
My suggestion is to call soil and water in the
Well,
morning.
once it becomes a piece of wetlands,
Well, the DEC has restrictions.
the DEC has restrictions, and a lot of times that road washes out. And you'd have to maybe get special permits in that. You gotta think about it.
Well, if we knew about it,
Yeah.
we would, and we'll just have to research this. Greg, go ahead.
The only thing I can tell you, if it's over an acre or 1,000,000 gallons, the DEC permit is required. And a site plan is required from an engineer.
And then environmental impact too?
Correct, as far as the dealing with the DEC.
Okay.
So, I doubt a 12-acre wetland, if you want to call it that, is going to happen within a couple of years worth of permitting process. All right.
I think it's gonna be smaller than that.
So I'm just saying, if you use it as a, anything, normally it's gonna be between 1 acre and 3 to 4 acres. I mean, that's a substantial one. But it still requires the DEC, complete review of the site before, and they would have to address the 100-foot buffer not to encroach onto your property.
Well, the way I understand it is that all it has to do is be presented to the commissioner of New York. And if he wants to designate it because this man's made a wetland, then it's just in his power, his say. If he feels good that day, he says, hey.
I can just tell you, it's a long process dealing, it's something of that substantial size. If you were building a pond, a 2-acre pond, it's almost a year, because you have to come up with a dam detail, the water flow, there's so many issues that have to be addressed. The downstream properties all have to be addressed in their plan. So, I haven't heard anything about this project either, but Brian would definitely know, and he would be the best one to contact. He would have the DEC permit involved.
DEM too, our Division of Planning and Environmental Management at the county.
Yeah, or the DEC. if they
And I can help you with
drop
that.
a dime.
All right. We'll get you in touch there and get your questions answered. All right? Thanks. Okay. Was there somebody else back there, or no? No?
Make a motion.
Yeah, okay. All right, then we need a
My
motion.
motion's
is
still
here.
good?
Yeah, your motion's still on the table in a second.
Still second.
Thank you, everyone.